nature, filled with abundance, a land of immense beauty, and side by side a madding crowd. A wonderful world. This is how we can describe Kulik Bird Sanctuary of Raiganj, West Bengal. In a primitive yet magnificent manner, nature is trying to rediscover herself. So let's experience the largest open-billed stork heronry of Asia on the wings of Kulik. The middle of June. One can see the Kulik sky full of hovering birds circling over the trees in search of a suitable place for nesting. The fun part of these birds is that an advance party of the night herons visit the sanctuary and the adjoining areas just before the monsoon sets in. Only if this party finds the habitat to be as favorable as it requires, the other parties of the birds slowly make appearance in the Kulik sky. The same is true of the other three varieties of birds. Almost 40 to 50,000 of birds visit this sanctuary for breeding and form heronry. The increasing number of the birds year after year clearly shows the conducive atmosphere for the birds to live in, ample food support, and secured habitat possibilities. The sanctuary was actually a man-made zamindari forest till it was vested to the government in the early 50s. Since then, the area was taken up for planting till early 60s. The area was declared as reserve forest in 1957. The waterlogged area by the side of River Kulik was taken up for afforestation with the species like hijol, jarul, arjun, shishu, shirish, jumul, shimul, and pituli. It is reported that the earliest flock of migratory birds was noticed in the year 1962. Since then, migratory birds have been breeding regularly there, but failed to draw proper attention till 1972, when the Wildlife Protection Act was enacted. Finally, in 1985, it was declared as Raiganj Wildlife Sanctuary with a total area of 321.23 acres spread over three mojas, Shoharoy, Bhattodikhi, and Abdul Ghata. The river Kulik flows along the eastern side of the sanctuary. Due to the course-changing nature of the river, a wetland has been formed with some undulating uplands, sandy beds, and ditches that form muddy pools and canals during rains. These pools and canals in the sanctuary provide the favorable environment for birds. The habitat is comprised of artificially regenerated forests along the small Oxbow Lake and adjoining floodplains of River Kulik. It is amazing to see how amidst din and bustle of Raiganj city, its cars, buses, lorries, auto rickshaws, pollution, and maiden count, the biodiversity of Kulik flows on, untouched and undisturbed.
এত গাড়ি, তার ধোঁয়া, তার ধুলো, রায়গঞ্জ শহরের যে পপুলেশন সেটার একটা চাপ, তা সত্ত্বেও এই ছোট একটা জঙ্গল যেটাকে নদী এবং বিভিন্ন নালা দিয়ে ঘেরা, তার মধ্যে প্রতি বছর এরা এত সংখ্যায় আসে, এটা সব থেকে বেশি গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। মানে কম এশিয়ান বিল স্টক মোটামুটি আমরা সব জায়গাতেই পাই, কিন্তু ওখানে এত সংখ্যায় আসে এবং তারা খুব শান্তিপূর্ণভাবে সেখানে থাকে। মানুষজন তারা মানুষ অবজার্ভ করেন তাদেরকে, বিভিন্ন যারা নেচার লাভার, প্রকৃতির সঙ্গে জড়িয়ে থাকেন, তারা আসেন, অবজার্ভ করেন, স্টাডি করেন।
Four main varieties of migratory birds, namely Asian open-billed stork, little cormorant, little egret, and night heron, usually come in groups during the month of June-July for breeding and leave by December-January. The most important breeder of this heronry is the Asian open-billed stork or the Shamuk khol. The name open-bill derived from the gap between the bills. This gap is an adaptation. During feeding, this particular feature of the bill helps in cracking of shell of gastropods, which is the prime food of the bird. This bird feeds chiefly on snail, frog, large insect, and crab. Apple snail is the most favorite food of the open-billed storks. During the winter, these apple snails go deep into the soil and remain in an inactive state. When the monsoon rains touch the soil, they break their hibernation stage and become active. After that, mating and breeding take place. The open-billed storks find these apple snails in great numbers in paddy fields, ditches, and pools, and satisfy themselves with the soft flesh. Breeding season is July to September in North India and November to March in South India. The distribution is India, Pakistan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and a few parts of China. After getting down from the sky, the birds immediately find themselves busy in nesting in trees. During this time, the birds fight against each other for the selection of suitable places and choice of partners. Like human beings, these birds also resort to violence. The survival of the fittest. This theory proves itself through these birds also. Only the strongest and the most suitable bird can carry its gene forward to the coming generation. The bird with a weak gene has no right to survive in the process of natural selection. The strongest male outperforms its fellow competitors in terms of selection of places and partners. Sometimes, the stronger male is seen to destroy the eggs of the little ones produced from the weaker male. Selection of partners and mating activity take place amidst fighting and nesting. During copulation, a clattering sound is produced by the striking of the male's bill against that of the female. The nests of the open-billed storks are multi-layered. The first layer is generally built with dried twigs of plants. The second layer consists of fresh leaves and twigs tied together by wet and rotten leaves and long thin twigs. The uppermost layer consists of petuli leaves. The breeding stage of the bird is characterized by white plumage. At non-breeding stage, the white plumage is replaced by dull gray one. The tail and wing feather is purplish and greenish black and glistering at breeding stage. At non-breeding stage, the glistering look of the feather vanishes. Asian open-billed storks lay eggs 2 to 4, rarely 5. Eggs are white, broad to moderate ovals, with close texture. Both parents take turns in incubation. The eggs are hatched after about 25 days. Asian open-billed stork is a powerful flyer, soaring at great height. It is a joy to watch them fly with a twig on their bill. Little egret is a lanky snow-white waterside bird with black legs, black bill, and yellow skin between the bill and the eye. In breeding season, little egret develops 2 long plumes on the neck that form a crest in addition to filamentous ornamental feathers on both back and breast. Little egret feeds on fish, frog, crustaceans, and water insects. Breeding season is July to September in North India, November to February in South India. Little egret is found in dry grassland, plowed land, and breeding in colony and prefers large trees. Some cattle egrets are also found to breed in this heronry. Unlike the little egrets, the cattle egrets have yellow bill and golden nuptial plumes. Night heron is a third visitor in Kulik. This bird is nocturnal except in breeding season. It is less active in daytime. Feeds on fish, frog, aquatic insect, and dragonfly larvae. Night heron is ashy gray with metallic greenish black back and scapulous forehead and a white streak over eye, crown, nape, and black drooping occipital crest, the last with a long few narrow white plumes. Below white, sides of body ashy gray. Sexes are alike. Juvenile night herons are brown, streaked, and speckled with rufous, buff, and dark brown. The birds sit sluggishly in their characteristic hunched posture, neck drawn into the body, shoulders and back rounded, and blood-red eye staring unblinkingly. Little cormorant is a bird having good aquatic adaptation, especially for swimming and underwater preying. It feeds mainly on fish, crustaceans, and water insects. Black overall with a bluish or greenish sheen, upper back and wing covers dark silvery gray, scalloped with black. At breeding stage, a short crest on occiput and neck and a few scattered silky white feathers and plumes on forecrown and sides of head are developed. At non-breeding stage, plumage crest and white feathers in head disappear and throat becomes white. Sexes are alike. When not on water, these birds are usually seen perched upright on trees, spreading open the wings and tail, sunning themselves. Towards the middle of August, the trees of Kulik Sanctuary welcome the chicks. It's a real joy to watch the assiduous parental care as well as the activities of the young ones. The parents make themselves busy in search of food. Chicks of the open-billed storks are clothed in pale fawn-colored down. They are intolerant of the hot sun and constantly shielded by parents standing at the edge of the nest with open, drooping wings. This is a great sight to watch when almost the whole of the area is ornamented with the storks with their large wings wide open. The small ones are fed by regurgitation by parents onto the floor of nests, almost exclusively on soft bodies and viscera of large snails. Importunate chicks often short-circuit the food from the parents' open bill during the disgorgement process. In 3 weeks, the small ones get ready to try their wings. Both parents give them a fair amount of training before they can actually fly. From mid-September, the kulik begins to get vacated when the breeding stage comes to an end, and the birds fly away with their young ones in search of a suitable place elsewhere for their feeding ground. The sanctuary gives refuge to a host of other local birds, insects, butterflies, moths, amphibians, and reptiles. The yellow monitored lizard, common fox, bats, giant squirrels, jackal, jungle cats, etc. are also found. On a broad perspective, this sanctuary represents the health of the ecosystem of North Dinajpur as well as adjoining districts. Any falling trend in population points out to increasing levels of pollution or some socio-economic unrest, and thus a very useful indicator. Destruction and damage of nests caused by cyclonic storm that occurs during September-October is a cause of concern. The storm blows large number of nests and kills young ones, rendering many as orphans. The birds, once fallen from nests, either get killed or walk around on the ground unable to climb back. It is noticed that parents do not take care of the young ones once they fall down. Rather, they lay eggs again with an attempt in vain to rear the newborn.
যখন ঝড় বৃষ্টি শুরু হয় আর আমরা নেচারে যখন অনেক সময় প্রতিকূল আবহাওয়ার সৃষ্টি হয় তখন দেখা যায় যে প্রচুর সংখ্যক পাখির মৃত্যু ঘটে। সেখান থেকে আমাদের পরিত্রাণ পাওয়ার কোনো উপায় নেই, কিন্তু আমরা নেচারে বেশি কিছু করতে পারছি না, কিন্তু তবু আমাদের চিকিৎসার জন্য আমরা সেখানে ব্যবস্থা রেখেছি এবং যাতে সঙ্গে সঙ্গে ওদেরকে ট্রিটমেন্ট করা যেতে পারে সে ধরনের ব্যবস্থা আমরা রেখেছি। কিন্তু এটা ইকোসিস্টেম অনেক সময় হয়, অনেক সময় দেখা যায় পাখি কিছু মারা যায়, হয়তো আমরা ভাবি যে কিছু পাখি মারা গেল, কিন্তু ইকোসিস্টেমের সিস্টেমে এটা যে এই স্যাংচুরির মধ্যে প্রচুর শিয়াল থেকে আরম্ভ করে অনেক জীবজন্তু সেখানে আছে এবং তারাও এই সিস্টেমের মধ্যে বেঁচে আছে।
The Raiganj Wildlife Sanctuary is one of the most important tourist attractions in North Dinajpur and adjoining districts. 3 nature trails are laid out, one in the southern part, one at the northern part, and another within the cone nesting area for use by tourists to observe the birds and feel the jungle. Some sitting arrangements have also been made. The Raiganj Wildlife Sanctuary has become an area for conservation education and ecotourism, as this type of mixed heronry is not common, and people get amused at their breeding displays and assiduous parental care. In 2011, a Nature Interpretation Center was set up as an added feather to Raiganj Wildlife Sanctuary. The important features of the sanctuary are displayed here through models, charts, and photographs.
বন দপ্তর থেকে এটার অ্যাট্রাকশনটা যাতে আরও বাড়ানো যায়, যাতে ট্যুরিস্টদের আরও অ্যাট্রাক্ট করা যায়, তার জন্য রিসেন্টলি নর্থ বেঙ্গল ডেভেলপমেন্ট ডিপার্টমেন্ট ওনারাও উদ্যোগী হয়েছেন। তো আমাদের একটা পরিকল্পনা চলছে যে এখানে যে ইন্টারপ্রিটেশন সেন্টারটা আছে সেটাকে আরও ডেভেলপ করা, যাতে সমস্ত স্তরের মানুষকে এটার সম্বন্ধে অ্যাওয়্যার করা, স্কুল কলেজের ছেলে মেয়েদের এই বিষয়টা সম্বন্ধে আরও বেশি করে অ্যাওয়্যার করা, ডকুমেন্টারি ফিল্ম, ছোটোখাটো আমাদের মুভিজ এগুলো দিয়ে। তাছাড়াও এটার প্রোটেকশনটাকে আরও বেটার করার জন্য আমরা চারপাশে আমাদের যে ফেন্সিংটা রয়েছে সেই ফেন্সিংটাও আমরা এই পরিকল্পনার মধ্যে এনেছি।
Ornithologically too, Raiganj Wildlife Sanctuary is a very important heronry. In Limca Book of Records 2016, Kulik has been referred to as the largest open-billed stork heronry in Asia. As per the breeding population data of Asian open-bills, the sanctuary reveals that it regularly supports 32 to 40% of the existing population of Asian open-bills of South Asia.
আমাদের এই স্যাংচুরির মধ্যে প্রচুর ফাঁকা জায়গা ছিল, সেখানে আমরা কয়েক বছর ধরে প্রচুর পরিমাণে গাছ লাগিয়েছি, ফলের গাছ এবং বিভিন্ন ধরনের গাছ, যে সমস্ত গাছের মধ্যে পাখিরা সহজে আকৃষ্ট হয়, এবং বাঁশের গাছ যেখানে পাখিরা বাসা বাঁধতে পারে, এদের প্রচুর আমরা প্লান্টেশন করেছি, এবং যার পরিপ্রেক্ষিতে দেখা যাচ্ছে যে ওর গ্রাউন্ড কভারে ওর হ্যাবিটেট যথেষ্ট উন্নত হয়েছে এবং পাখিরা প্রচুর পরিমাণে আসছে।
A heronry which supports such a high percentage of Asian open-bills is not only a nationally important heronry but also an internationally important one. But unless and until a cumulative effort on the part of the local people, visiting tourists, wildlife enthusiasts, nature lovers, and above all, the government is put towards the overall thought process and active execution of the projects taken, the sanctuary, one of the best of its kind, might lose its primacy and merge with the general.